Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. The cultivators waited silently. They came from all over the 9 provinces and major sections. There were many elites from the divine capital gathered here as well. They were fearful and respectful. They looked at the evil sky pavilion situated at the top of Golden Court Mountain. Throughout the years, they had never once felt that the evil sky pavilion was as invincible as it was today. Golden Court Mountain was not steep or towering. However, that did not stop the cultivators from regarding everything here with fearful respect. They even treated the plants here in that manner. At this moment, Mingxian and Wuya flew down from the mountain. The cultivators looked up with expressions of fearful respect on their faces. The first person on the white list, Shenliangshou, said, "They're the evil sky pavilions Mr. 4th and Mr. 7th. The others nodded. From the 3 sects, Nan Gongwei and Fengyi cupped their fists together at the same time. Mr. 4th, Mr. 7th. The others greeted them as well. Mingxian and Wuya flew out of the barrier. They swept their gaze across the cultivators present. Wuya frowned slightly. Their numbers were slightly more than what he liked. Although the evil sky pavilion had 4 pavilions, there were thousands of cultivators here. Even if they could fit inside the pavilions, they would be uncomfortably packed. Some cultivators began to discuss among themselves in hushed tones. This is evil sky pavilions Mr. 7th. He's the master of the dark net, the brains of the evil sky pavilion. He has agents everywhere. That's Mr. 4th. He has both brains and brawn. Don't be fooled by his weak cultivation base. He always managed to defeat opponents more powerful than himself. At this moment, Wuya projected his voice with primal qi. Silence. The lively crowd immediately quietened down as they looked at Wuya. Wuya scanned the crowd and said, "My master has decided to preach to the world so that everyone can improve their cultivation bases as quickly as possible and fight against the invasion of the beasts. I'm sure everyone here is aware of the Manman's and Xiongqi's attacks. I won't go into detail about that. The preaching itself is only a means. There's no guarantee that everyone will be able to reach the 9-leaf stage. I'm going to lead you up the mountain on my master's orders. However, before that, I'd like to make something clear." At this moment, Wuya's voice deepened as he said sternly, "Those who enter must abide by the evil sky pavilion's rules. There will be no noise-making, infighting, flying, going near the eastern and southern pavilions, or loitering around the forest. Those who break these rules will have to bear the consequences." The others nodded in agreement after Wuya finished speaking. The Tian sect's master, Nan Gongwei, cupped his fists together and said, "That's only natural. Since we're here to learn, we must disregard our own positions. Moreover, this is the evil sky pavilion. Who would dare to go against the rules?" He spoke in a loud and clear voice. "That's right. There can be no order without rules. A chaotic situation won't be conducive to learning. You're a wise person, Mr. 7th. I agree. I completely agree." Most of the cultivators raised their hands and agreed. Mingxian said in a voice only Wuya could hear, "Since when did we have these rules?" "Just now." Wuya replied in an equally quiet tone. Mingxian gave him a thumbs up. He gave him a look that said, "You're the man." Wuya continued addressing the crowd in a loud voice, to ensure that the preaching progresses smoothly. "Those who enter the evil sky pavilion must fulfill the following conditions." The cultivators seemed to have expected as much. They knew not everyone would be allowed entry. This was the evil sky pavilion, not a street in the city. First, those above the 5-leaf stage, move to the left. Pass through the barrier and summon your avatars, Wuya said. Then, hundreds of cultivators flew to the left excitedly. Regardless of the times, cultivators above the 5-leaf stage were always the mainstay in the cultivation world. The others looked disappointed. However, they understood the reasoning behind this, so they had no complaints. This condition alone filtered out most of the cultivators. Second, those between the 1 and 5 leaf stage who are younger than 50, move to the right. Pass through the barrier and summon your avatars. Swoosh. 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 This time, only dozens of cultivators flew out to the right. However, they were no less excited than the cultivators standing on the left. Third, those who have entered the Divine Court realm within 10 years or enter the Brahman Sea realm within 5 years, move to the middle. Pass through the barrier and summon your avatars. This time, only 3 cultivators stepped forward and moved to the middle. At this moment, someone who did not meet the conditions said, "Mr. Seventh, how are you going to judge if our cultivation bases are authentic or not? I can also say that I've entered the Brahman Sea realm within 5 years." Wuya nodded and said, "I have a technique of judging a person's age by touching his bone. Those who lied will leave on their own accord. I won't hold it against them." Then, he looked at the people to his right and in front of him. 2 cultivators to the right trembled and immediately apologized. "Please forgive us, Mr. Seventh. Have mercy. We've made a mistake. We'll leave." The others frowned at the duo as they left. When the forest was large, there would be all kinds of birds. Even the sun, with its size, could not shine on every corner of the world. "I'd ask the rest of you to go back to where you come from," Wuya said before he flew toward the barrier's opening. The chosen cultivators gathered around him. The other cultivators did not leave right away. They stayed and watched. At the entrance of the barrier, Wuya said, "This way." The cultivators entered the barrier. Nan Gongwei of Tian Sect. Fo Meiji of Yun Sect. Zhang Jishui of Blossom Faction. Every cultivator would announce their names and factions they belonged to. At the same time, they summoned their avatars to prove their strength before entering the barrier. After some time, Zhenghai from the ancient saint cult. Zhenghai summoned his avatar. Unlike the others who only one manifested miniature avatars, he was the only who manifested his full-size avatar. It was 100 feet tall. The others in the area were in awe. Currently, the Evil Sky Pavilion was currently the place with the highest number of elites gathered in the Golden Lotus domain. Naturally, there were many elites and geniuses who could not make it due to the distance. "Wait a minute," Wuya said. The ancient saint cult's master, Zhenghai, asked, "Is anything the matter, Mr. Seventh? I heard the ancient saint cult's master is Zhou Tianyuan." Wuya said. "The ancient saint cult has withdrawn from the cultivation world for many years now. I'm surprised the Evil Sky Pavilion knows this. Zhou Tianyuan is the former sect master. He resigned and left a long time ago," Zhenghai said. Based on his words, it was obvious he was unaware of the relationship between Zhou Tianyuan and the Evil Sky Pavilion. This was related to the promise made when Ji Tiandao recruited his disciples. The disciples of the Evil Sky Pavilion had to sever all ties with their past. Their family members were not allowed to speak about it as well. It was only natural that Zhenghai did not know anything about the matter. "Proceed." Wuya made an inviting gesture. A curious expression appeared on Mingshi Yin's face as he asked in a hushed tone, "Why did you allow him to enter? Zhou Tianyuan is in the southern pavilion. Isn't it better for them to settle their problem?" Wuya asked. "You have a point. I can count on you to be cunning," Mingshi said with a smile. Soon enough, the cultivators had all entered the barrier. The talented cultivators at the left and center flew in as well. Many female cultivators with delicate and pretty appearances exposed their arms in preparation for Wuya to check their bones. Wuya shook his head. "Proceed." He allowed them to enter without touching them. "Heh. Old Seventh, since when did you become a hypocrite? Why aren't you checking them when you should?" Mingshi said as he rolled his eyes. Wuya said in a low voice, "I made that technique up as well." "No. I think it's true. Don't be shy, go on," Mingshi said. Wuya. He did not want to entertain Mingshi. At the same time, the middle-aged Red Lotus cultivator was looking at the opening of the barrier nearby in the forest. He muttered under his breath, 2 more days. The middle-aged man stayed until the cultivators vanished into the barrier's opening before turning around and leaving. After all, he was not from this domain. He was not as maniacal and passionate as the other cultivators. There were 2 more days to go, it was useless for him to stay here. On the other hand, the cultivators who were here to watch the show and admire the elites did not leave even if they could not see or listen to the Patriarch's preaching. After passing through the barrier, the cultivators walked up the mountain as promised. They were not exhausted and chatted merrily among themselves as they enjoyed the scenery. In terms of height or steepness, Golden Court Mountain was a far cry from the 3 sects. However, Golden Court Mountain did not have many disciples. It was not as huge as the 3 sects that had tens of thousands of disciples. A single mountain was enough to strike fearful respect into the cultivators' hearts. When the cultivators were halfway up the mountain, a man with a silver mask could be seen under a gazebo. He was looking at the distant mountains as he rested one hand on his back. Zhou. He's Lang Luo, the first person on the blacklist 300 years ago. He's now one of the Evil Sky Pavilion's elders. The one who had spoken was Shen Liangshou. Shen Liangshou, you sure know much about the Evil Sky Pavilion. Well, I'm only committing faces to my memory so that I won't repeat the same low-level mistakes such as looking down on others based on their appearance. Shen Liangshou recalled what had happened in the past. Ever since then, for a year, he had made sure to commit to his memory every single person in the Evil Sky Pavilion, even those who had just joined. He prided himself on his knowledge of the Evil Sky Pavilion more than anyone else. You're the first person on the whitelist and can be considered to be of the same rank as Senior Lang Luo. Why don't you go up and greet him? Shen Liangshou said awkwardly, stop making fun of me. He made it to the top with his strength, I made it to the top by bragging. The others broke out in laughter as they continued climbing the mountain. They were still near the gazebo when they saw 2 little girls flying about in the air. The cultivators were confused. Wasn't flying prohibited on Golden Court Mountain? Shen Liangshou was the first to speak. Don't be surprised. The one with the red silk is the Evil Sky Pavilion's Miss Ninth. The one wearing the cloud feather raiment next to her must be her sister. Don't think that they're unaccomplished because of their young age. In the Evil Sky Pavilion, the disciples fawn over Miss Ninth the most. Everything she does is supported by her seniors. Look for. How terrifying. Everyone doted on that girl. That was terrifying enough. The 2 girls flew gracefully like fairies. They were young, but they were already peerless beauties. These 2 were little ancestors whom they could not afford to offend. Shen Liangshou stopped walking. He studied Conk, who was behind little Yuan, and committed her face to his memory. He did not know much about Conk, but he knew for her to be able to stay here, she must not be ordinary. The cultivators continued walking up. This is the Evil Sky Pavilion's Mr. 8th. He might look silly, but when he was only a Divine Court Realm cultivator, he was the leader of the Tiger Ridge gang. He's someone valued by Mr. 1st and Mr. 7th, Shen Liangshou continued to explain. Someone spoke up at this moment. Mr. 8th's father has fought against the other tribesmen of the 7 nations in the battle at Liang Province. He's an 8-leaf elite who lives up to his name. If I'm not mistaken, he's from the ancient Saint cult. Everyone instinctively turned to look at Zhenghai, the supposed master of the ancient Saint cult master. Zhenghai walked past the other cultivators and made his way to Shen Liangshou. He asked warily, may I know your name? It's insignificant. I'm Shen Liangshou. Shen Liangshou returned the greeting. You said that Mr. 8th's father is from the ancient Saint cult? That's right. May I know his name? Zhenghai asked. Zhou Tianyuan. Shen Liangshou covered his mouth with a hand as he whispered the name into Zhenghai's ear. After all, it was considered disrespectful to mention another person's name openly. When Zhenghai heard the name, his eyes widened in shock, and he staggered backward. Shen Liangshou asked, what's wrong with you? He's the ancient Saint cult's master, Zhenghai, someone said. Realization dawned on Shen Liangshou immediately. Zhou Tianyuan was from the ancient Saint cult, and you're the sect master. Destiny leads enemies to meet. Take care, he said with a sigh as he shook his head and patted Zhenghai's shoulder. Soon after, the cultivators arrived in front of the Evil Sky Pavilion's Great Hall. Si Wuya and Mingxirin did not pay attention to the cultivators' discussion. Si Wuya ordered someone to lead the cultivators to the northern pavilion before the duo returned to their own affairs. Inside the eastern pavilion, Zhou was no longer meditating on the heavenly writing scrolls. Instead, he was cultivating with all his might to raise his cultivation base. His host, Ji Tiandao, had already expanded his Dantian Sea of Qi to the peak of the 8-leaf stage. Hence, throughout Zhou's process of progressing from the body tempering stage to the peak, he never had any problems or met with obstacles and bottlenecks. His life had been prolonged to a point where his cultivation base was not affected by his age. His cultivation speed had improved greatly as well. At this moment, Si Wuya arrived in the Eastern Pavilion. Master, the cultivators who are here to learn have already settled in. Then, he added, also, I made the decision to let Zhenghai, the ancient Saint Cult's master, up the mountain. Zhou replied with his eyes closed. I see. I'll take my leave now. If his master did not give him a clear directive, it meant that he was allowed to make the decision. This was something he had hoped for. Si Wuya had barely left the Eastern Pavilion when he saw the ancient Saint Cult's master, Zhenghai, walking through the corridors and passing gazebos. He was being led by Pan Zhong. From afar, Zhenghai, who had noticed Si Wuya, nodded and bowed as he said, Zhenghai of the ancient Saint Cult offers his greetings, Mr. Seventh. What's the matter? Si Wuya asked. Zhou Tianyuan is my older brother. There are some misunderstandings between us. I wonder if you can bring me to meet him, Mr. Seventh? Zhenghai asked. There's no need for that. However, I have a suggestion for you, Si Wuya said. What is it, Mr. Seventh? It's simple. Return the position of the sect master to him and leave the ancient saint cult of your own accord. It's better for both of you this way. Zhenghai did not expect Si Wuya to be so blunt, he was slightly taken aback. Then, he asked, is the Evil Sky Pavilion going to meddle in the ancient saint cult's affairs? Can't we? Si Wuya retorted. Zhu Honggong was the 8th disciple of the Evil Sky Pavilion. He was also the heir of the ancient saint cult's master, Zhou Tianyuan. Why could they not meddle in the matter? Although Zhenghai had prepared himself mentally, he was still shocked by Si Wuya's reply. After a moment, he asked, aren't you going to ask about the story behind the matter, Mr. Seventh? Why should I? Was it not natural for the Evil Sky Pavilion to take the sides of their members? Zhenghai said with a sigh, I knew it, I've been too hopeful. I thought the Evil Sky Pavilion would be impartial in this matter. Forget it. Let it be as you've said, Mr. Seventh. After saying this, he turned around and made to leave. Wait. Is there anything else, Mr. Seventh? Zhenghai was annoyed, and his annoyance leaked into his voice. The Evil Sky Pavilion has always drawn clear boundaries between favors and grudges. If you have any misgiving about this, I can make a proposal to my 8th junior brother, Si Wuya said. He paused for a moment before he continued to say, however, I must warn you, this is the Evil Sky Pavilion, not the ancient saint cult. You'd better do away with that useless pride. If my master didn't give me an order, you would have been a dead man because of what you said earlier. After he finished speaking, he placed his hands on his back and walked away. Zhenghai trembled. When he lifted his head again, his back was already drenched in sweat. He no longer had any ideas or fantasies. He returned to the northern pavilion and tried to have someone pass a message to Zhou Tianyuan, saying that he would step down as cult master and leave the cult. When Zhou Tianyuan learned of this, he was so happy that he could barely close his mouth. He laughed as he said, Zhenghai, to think that you'd have such a day. Is this how it feels to take advantage of one's position and bully another? Time flew by. 2 days passed in just a blink of an eye. Inside the eastern pavilion of the Evil Sky Pavilion, Zhou slowly opened his eyes. He felt that his Dantian Sea of Qi had been fully replenished yesterday. He had been cultivating until now because he was simulating the scene of breaking through to the 9-leaf stage in his mind. To the others, he was merely demonstrating something he had already done before. He was the only one who knew this was his first time sprouting the 9th leaf. He called out, "Is anyone there?" A disciple outside the door bowed and asked, "Your orders, Pavilion Master?" "Tell them to gather outside the Evil Sky Pavilion." Understood. The cultivators in the Northern Pavilion were individuals with high positions from all over the 9 provinces. However, none of them disdained the conditions of the Northern Pavilion. They were already gathered as they awaited the orders from the Evil Sky Pavilion's Patriarch. At this moment, a voice reached them. "The Pavilion Master has summoned everyone to gather before the Great Hall. This way, please." The cultivators were delighted and excited as they hastily made their way to the Great Hall. There were hundreds of them. Meanwhile, outside Golden Court Mountain, many cultivators hovered in the air as they tried to catch a glimpse of what was going on inside. Those who could not fly too high or fly at all could only shake their heads and sigh. Shortly after, the 4 elders, Lang Luo, Pan Litian, Zhou Yushu, and Hua Wudao, arrived. They were individuals whose reputations preceded them. In front of them, most of the cultivators were juniors. Soon after, the disciples of the Evil Sky Pavilion, apart from Zhenghai and Shangrong, arrived as well. Whenever a member arrived, the cultivators would cup their fists together and greet them. Even the lowest rank members, Pan Zhong and Zhou Jifeng, who were like general workers, were treated with respect. Soon after, a loud voice rang in the air. "The Pavilion Master is coming." The cultivators turned to look at the Eastern Pavilion. Although Zhou was renowned throughout the world, many of them had never seen his face. They highly anticipated this opportunity to witness the Patriarch's grandeur with their own eyes. Whiz! A unique sound of resonance resounded in the skies. Up there, Zhou appeared above the Evil Sky Pavilion. His back was facing the cultivators as he stroked his beard and looked at the sky. His robes fell loosely on his body. At this moment, he had an erudite and elite air about him, not dissimilar to an immortal. The others were slightly stunned. An elite was truly an elite. The Patriarch would even use a grand technique when he made his entrance. Well, he, the Evil Sky Pavilion's Patriarch, was the greatest and the only 9-leaf cultivator in Great Yen, after all. "Hail, Pavilion Master! Hail, Master!" The cultivators present bowed fearfully.